With Caitlin Clark injured, the WNBA will be reliant on their other stars to carry the league. I'm not just talking about ratings, I'm not just talking about attendance. The WNBA will be reliant on their other stars to maintain the interest of the mainstream. With Angel Reese being the only player with mainstream name recognition, most of the pressure, it is going to be on her to perform. And we have plenty of evidence that proves Angel Reese is not qualified to carry the league.
Caitlin Clark's season is over, and this time, it isn't just bad luck or nagging injuries to blame. The shadow of Angel Reese's jealousy has hung over the league all year, fueling drama, reckless physical play, and a toxic atmosphere that finally pushed Clark's body past its limit. From a quad strain in May to groin issues through the summer and a bone bruise in August, Clark endured setback after setback. Yet instead of protecting their biggest star, the league let the obsession with stopping Clark turn into a circus, one led by Reese. The result? Not just a heartbreaking end for Clark, but a full-blown league crisis. Fans are frustrated, fed up, and walking away. And while Reese might think this makes her the face of the WNBA, the silence she's kept now feels less like leadership and more like satisfaction.
Angel Reese, under pressure. When you think about it, there have been so many classic songs written about the WNBA dump, obviously Under Pressure by Queen and David Bowie, which directly applies to what Angel Reese and her colleagues are going through right now. An immense amount of pressure to carry this dump of a league while Caitlin Clark recovered.
Think back. How many times did we watch Clark get shoved, grabbed, or knocked off balance, only for the cameras to catch Reese celebrating it like some kind of trophy? That's what enrages fans most. Everyone saw it unfold in real time. Clark hammered on curls, bumped before even touching the ball, and battered on nearly every possession. What Reese framed as rivalry theatrics quickly stopped looking like competition. Instead, it turned into something darker, one player being singled out and targeted game after game, with zero accountability.
Well, it all started last year, in her rookie season, where she received 20% of all the flagrant fouls in the league. And most of them came from Angel Reese in the Chicago Sky. And these weren't basketball plays. They were not only fouling her, but they were getting up laughing about it. Laughing about Caitlin Clark getting assaulted. Any other work environment, people go to jail for what's going on.
And here's the cruel irony. The very player who carried the WNBA to record-breaking viewership, selling out arenas in Dallas, Vegas, New York, and Chicago, was left unprotected. While networks poured millions into Clark's broadcasts and fans bought tickets months in advance, the league let jealousy dictate the game. What should have been a showcase of talent turned into an arms race of fouls, cheap shots, and intimidation. For Clark, that meant constant collisions, awkward pivots, and dangerous landings, injuries that never had to happen.
Now, what little girl wants to grow up and play in a league where you're targeted like that? How do you sit here and profess and demand that everyone take women's sports seriously when you can't even take it seriously enough to not act like a junior high queen on the court? It's stupid. It's so dumb. It looks like a soap opera.
This wasn't just frustrating to watch. It was dangerous to the foundation of the league itself. Every cheap shot Clark absorbed from players desperate to prove they weren't living in her shadow brought us closer to this breaking point. Her quad strain, her nagging groin problems, none of it was random. It was the accumulation of weeks of unchecked physical play, where opponents seemed more intent on knocking her down than beating her with actual skill. And at the center of it all stood Angel Reese, embracing the villain role, soaking up the attention, even if it meant Clark paid the price.
And last year, I noticed how much it was just Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark was taking all the hits. Caitlin Clark was taking all the abuse. But this year they've added Sophie Cunningham. She gets more flagrant fouls on her than anybody in the league besides Caitlin Clark. And Aaliyah Boston, she's been taking hits as well. But the worst thing is the consistency. So they don't call flagrant fouls, or most of the time, Caitlin Clark can be held for an entire game at a time. They don't call fouls. They don't call common fouls.
And that's why fans are calling out the hypocrisy. The WNBA was quick to parade record ticket sales, jersey sellouts, and unprecedented sponsorship deals, all thanks to Caitlin Clark. But when it came to protecting the very star they built their marketing around, the league looked the other way, letting jealousy-fueled rivalries turn the season into a circus. The result? Clark is sidelined for the year, arenas are suddenly half empty, and TV networks are left scrambling to fill the void.
Spend all this time trying to get respect for your league, and then you do bitch stuff. The only bees out there I see are the bees that are being dramatic about Caitlin Clark. That's all I see. They try so long to get respect for women's basketball, and then they treat it like a junior high school girl's locker room. Junior high school girl antics on the court. Instead of playing the game, they gotta be drama because they're jealous. Instead of letting their skills speak for themselves, they gotta be drama because they're jealous.
So what happens when your golden goose gets forced out because rivals like Reese couldn't control their obsession? What happens when you build an empire around one star, but let jealousy dictate how she's treated on the court? We're seeing the answer now. Caitlin Clark limping on the sidelines while the league scrambles to explain, and Angel Reese can't even fill her own arena. The targeting, the jealousy, the constant cheap shots, these didn't just affect box scores. They laid the groundwork for Clark's collapse. And the backlash isn't limited to the floor anymore, it's everywhere. Was Clark's second season doomed from the start? Looking back, it feels that way. From the first days of training camp in May, reports hinted her quad was tightening, an injury most franchises would have handled with caution. Instead, she was paraded out as the face of every event, every scrimmage, every media rollout. Meanwhile, Reese and her camp were eager to exploit that weakness, pushing the storyline that Clark couldn't handle the league's physicality. 2 months later, that nagging issue became a groin injury. By July, it turned into a full tear. And then came the announcement everyone dreaded. Caitlin Clark's season was over. The story of how we got here isn't about bad luck or one unlucky twist. It's about a season-long pattern, a league that never gave its brightest star, or her body, a fair chance.
I mean, it's a gut punch that basically encompasses an entire season. The Fever have lost so many players, but obviously none bigger than her. And there was such a weight for this second season after her magnificent rookie season. And then, the anticipation of her possibly coming back, only for that not to happen, takes a lot of air out of the room, obviously takes a lot of energy out of the fans, and is a devastating blow for not just the Fever and the WNBA.